What's going on, guys? Welcome to the UFC Fight Night Waterson vs. Hill recap show. I'm your host, Ryan Galloway. Joining me as always, Jordan Ellis. Jordan, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Another one of these cards where you look at the lineup of what we got here and you don't expect much, but on the night, it delivered pretty well, in my opinion. I thought the card was definitely a good card. There was no complaints from my end on that one. And the main event especially, that delivered. What did you think of the card as a whole first before we get into the individual fights?
It's a really good card, and first things first, it was a proper stack card where there was 6 fights on the prelim, 6 fights on the main card, and it was just like it started early. It started 10 p.m. over in the UK, and I thought I was getting an early night, but it still ran till about 4:30 in the morning. So it was, that tells you all you need to know, and lots of good finishes, lots of really fun fights, a bit of controversy. It just seemed to have everything, and as you said, it weren't the most hyped card, but in the end, it delivered.
Absolutely. And yeah, one thing that did deliver was the main event. And so we'll jump straight into that. Michelle Waterson, Andrew Hill, two ranked women's strawweight fighters. Hill really coming up, a lot of momentum behind her after fighting 3 times this year and getting 2 wins. So there's a lot of momentum there. Whereas Waterson's kind of the other end where she had a lot of momentum and was being built to be this next title contender. And then she came up against Joanna and didn't emerge victorious, but that'll happen. So she was really fighting to keep her place while Hill was like fighting to establish herself. Both women looked fantastic. Awesome fight. One of the most entertaining women's 5-round fights I've seen in a while, for sure. And yeah, I was happy with the decision. I thought Waterson did win it, but definitely competitive. If they had said Hill won, I wouldn't have complained at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I thought Watson won. I had a guy that edge in that last round. They had a 2-all in going into that 5th round, and I think he won that 5th round. So I've got no complaints with the decision. But as you said, no one really lost in that fight. If it went the other way, I wouldn't have complained. I don't think there was any reason to shout robbery, even if you're a Hill fan and you think she won. I just don't think there's any need for it because it was a brilliant fight. It was, in terms of, definitely one of the best women's fight you'll see. And then it's the only reason it's not going to be, going down as one of the best is because we just had Joanna against Weili Zhang a few months ago, which, set the bar so high. But besides that, I can't think of many better 5-round women's fights, as you said. So great fight. Watson goes on. I do think she's been at that level for longer. I did pick her before the fight, and I was glad to see her get it done. But Hill's just a serious contender in that division now, and she'll be coming back, and she'll go straight back into another big fight, and she'll cause some more nightmares.
Yeah, and I mean, you were the only one in our staff picks that did pick Waterson in this one. Everyone else picked Hill. And looking at what everyone said, I don't think many of us were wrong. I think Hill was the better striker in the fight, and she put it together on the feet, and her takedown defense was good for the first 2 rounds. It was just that factor of going later in the fight. The 3rd round, when Waterson managed to get that takedown, really changed the momentum there. And then back on the feet, Hill was substantially slower after that. And yeah, she definitely won the 4th round in my eyes, and then I thought she edged the 5th as well. Both of them look really good. Angela Hill hits hard. Like, you could see the hematoma forming on the head in the 1st round. Like, didn't look good for Waterson at that point. But she managed to recover. Used her kicks really well to keep at range. Used her kicks really well in that 5th round just to do damage and build up points to ultimately win a decision. For Hill now, I honestly, I don't think you push her back too much. I think she can hang with the people this high in that division for sure. So I think there's definitely opponents ranked nearby that she can take on and keep her little run of momentum going. I can't see her falling apart like after this loss. Whereas Waterson, there's really not too many people above her that you would pair her with now, is there? Like, obviously Rose is going to fight for the title. You wouldn't do the JJ rematch. There's no way. Maybe Andrade or something. What do you think?
Andrade's just moved up to 125,
Right.
I think. So it's a tough. I think she's in a tough spot where who you match her again. We'll get the rankings up and have a little look. Because but I don't think either girl, I don't think Wharton's good. She probably still needs a couple of wins to get a title shot. Whereas, and I think Hill's probably still only a couple of wins off a title shot. It is that close in the strawweight division, and Tatiana Suarez, is she matched up? I think she's the next in line, really, isn't she? And then who knows what Joanna's doing? I wouldn't really match her with
Not again.
with Watson. You could potentially match her with Hill because Hill's still right there. Claudia Cadea, you could do that rematch with Hill, or she could push on and fight Waterson. So around that level, Tatiana Suarez would be the highest Waterson can push, and then you could probably go right down anyone in the top 10 really for either of these girls. They're both right there. I don't think much has changed from the win or the loss.
Yeah, I think definitely when Suarez gets back, that division will be opened up more and we'll get a bit of clearer idea of where everyone's at. Because right now you've got the two former champions, you've got the champion, and then sort of everyone else after that. Whereas Suarez is number one contender from right, or she's number 3 or something. She's up there, and she's definitely the one everyone wants to see fight for the title. She's earned it, and she's not been stopped yet. I think she's undefeated, right?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah, and she's just been out from injury, so once she's recovered from that, she'll get right back in there, and if she's not getting a title fight off the bat, which I doubt she will, she'll probably get a number 1 contender fight, and then a title fight.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't really want to see Suarez going straight back into a title fight. It's tough enough as it is, this division. It's one of the most stacked divisions on the UFC roster, so coming in and taking someone like Waterson on is a really good test to see, if she's ready, and give it a little warm up, give it a chance. Weili Zhang is busy with Rose Namajunas. Beyond that, she might be busy with someone like Valentina if she comes out with a win in that one. So there's plenty of time, and Tatiana Suarez is young, so I don't think there's any rush with that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll move on to the co-main event then, and that was between Ottoman Azatar and Karma Worthy. I've been big on Karma Worthy since he joined the UFC. I know he was an underdog coming into this one for obvious reasons because Azatar's undefeated knockout artist. I just thought Worthy would be the more technical striker, and I thought he'd be able to withstand the storm and outpoint him. But God, I was wrong. Azatar hits hard, and when he gets a hold of you, that's it. He throws flurries and he lands, and that's it. And he did that. A minute 32 into the first round, got the KO finish, remains undefeated, adds another knockout to his record. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, going into this fight, I was really torn just on. I do like Worthy, and I thought he's got everything he needs to win this fight. But I was going through his record, and I spoke to Billy Quarantilo, and he was saying he finished him, and Kyle Nelson finished Karma Worthy, and then I was looking through his record. There's about 5 KO stoppages on there, and then I'm thinking Azaitar is one of the bigger punches in lightweight. So as the fight crept closer, I was creeping closer to Azaitar's side, and then he's got that that Moroccan fan base who kind of in our YouTube comments, and they're blasting Worthy for thinking he's got to push over here too. So it's just there seems to be a bit of something going on with the Azaitar now. I'm kind of half on that hype train at the minute. I think he's powerful. I look forward to seeing him stretch out a fight and seeing what else he's got, because you're not going to be able to blow everyone away in the UFC, and it's working for him right now. And good luck to him, because that was fantastic performance, and Karma Worthy was rightfully receiving a bit of hype after 2 big wins. Yeah, but he's been put right back in his place now, and Azaitar's on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, Azaitar's on 3 in a row in the UFC or something, if I'm right. He's lined up a couple in the UFC, so you really got to give him a jump at a competition. If he's knocking people out how he is, you look at Sean O'Malley, he was knocking people out the same way, and they put him in jump up in competition. That's where he really got tested. So I'd like to see Azatar jump up like a fair leap with this win and take on a ranked guy. I don't know who off the top of my head, but I definitely think put him against a ranked guy, see how he goes. If he can go out there and do what he's been doing and smash someone, the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, well, we had Bobby Green, who was on that card as well. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight at all. Maybe not ranked guys, but people just on the edge of that. Azaitar, Lando Venata, Mark D. Casey. There's plenty of fighters who are going to give him some more issues than Worthy was able to. But it was just one of them things. Worthy got caught by a huge shot, and he was complaining, but then in the end it was a fair stoppage because he was getting swarmed. It was just a tough night for Worthy, and he'll be back. And Azaitar, he's on to the next one. Look forward to watching him. He's definitely someone you've got to watch out for now, because when he's throwing hands like that and he's doing that type of damage, it's exciting. It's crazy to watch.
I'm interested to see what both these guys do next. Like I said, I'm a fan of Worthy, and now I'm a fan of Azaitar, so we'll see what happens next there. Before that, we had Roxanne Modafferi coming back against Andrea Lee. I honestly didn't see a lot of this fight because I was doing something else, so I'm going to throw it to you to break down. What do you think of this one?
You didn't miss much. It was one of them fights. It's just a classic fight of 3 in the morning when you just don't want to be trying to fall asleep,
Yeah.
but this one's not helping yet. It was really nip and tuck. It was back and forth. It was a competitive fight. I think Modafferi, was rightfully got the decision, but no one really impressed. It was one of them fights where no one seems to be looking for the finish. They were holding position, things like that. Yeah, but good for Roxy because obviously she's a fan favorite. She's an MMA pioneer. Ever since she's been in the UFC, she's been losing one, winning one, and she was coming off a loss, so she was due a win. She got it, and then for Andrea Lee, it just sucks because that's like 3 really close to fit decision losses in a row now. It was 2 split decisions, and this one was unanimous, but it could have easily gone the other way as well. So it was just not a great fight, but great win for Modafferi. Really tough loss for Lee, and yeah, I don't know where she goes from here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it, so I can't really comment on what happened there. But Modafferi is one of those fighters where she's getting 1 win and 1 loss, and she will never, from what I've seen since I've been like following her career closely, she has these little spurts where she wins one, but she never gets like a streak going where she can jump up in the caliber of opponent. She always gets that setback that keeps her around the same area, where she seems to do well in. So maybe that's where she belongs. But yeah, good to see her getting a win. Before that, we had the controversial fight of the night, so there's a lot to break down in this one, between Ed Herman and Mike Rodriguez. Stuff from the beginning. On the feet, was reasonably competitive at the start, but then Rodriguez started to go to town. He started going to the body and landing shots and really hurting Herman with those shots, attacking the legs, lots of kicks. I thought in the clinch early, Herman was getting the better of him, but later on, in the second round, Rodriguez in the clinch was much more dangerous. And then he lands that beautiful kick, knee to the body, and then he lands a kick to the body before or after. No, it's 2 knees, right? He put one low and then one on the chest. After the one on the chest, Herman drops and covers, and the ref called it for a groin strike. Probably the worst ref call I've seen in a long, long time. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was bad, and it's such a shame. Mike Rodriguez was basically on a streak. He was looking good. He turned around after 20 days, and he basically got a win. And then he's lost it. It was just crazy, and it was one of them things. It's poor, Chris Tagnoni, because obviously that's a howler, and he obviously hasn't seen it, but it's just such a shame. And Ed Herman, you can't really hate on him, for taking the time and recovering and coming back. He still managed to pull something off because even afterwards he was still hurt on multiple occasions. So the opportunity was there for Rodriguez to close the show, and Ed Herman was there for the taking. So I don't want to focus too much on the controversial stoppers, although Mike Rodriguez has got absolutely every right to do so. But just to talk about the fight rather than the controversy, Mike Rodriguez looked beautiful with them elbows. He's a dangerous man for anyone in that light heavyweight division. He gets you really close, and then he just lands them elbows. They are brilliant, and Ed Herman's just a tough guy to be able to take them, and then to rally back like that and pull off a Kimura. I think he was on the bottom, weren't he, and managed to switch it. That's beautiful as well, and Mike Rodriguez, besides anything else, will be frustrated to be getting caught with something like that, because you don't see many people getting them, and it's a high risk, low reward strategy, really. No one's pulling them off. So, credit to Ed Herman, Mike Rodriguez. You've just got a feel for the guy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discredit Ed Herman's submission, right? Because, like you said, he set that submission up. Kimura, a lot of the time people won't even go to finish with the Kimura when they're on the bottom. They would use it as a sweep so they can get on top. But he committed to it, ended up finishing him with it, and yeah, very impressive. But you can't give him the win, right? Because he lost. He was done. He covered up. He admitted defeat. If he was defending in that moment where the ref thought he ought to groin strike, it'd be one thing. But he wasn't defending. All the look on his face, all his body language was telling you, I'm done. Get me out of here. And so he obviously took the 5 minutes, which a lot of people were giving him slack for. Like on Twitter, I seen someone saying that wasn't sportsmanlike. And just, you got to think from his perspective, am I going to be sportsmanlike or am I going to get my win bonus, right? So I think everyone would take the win bonus in that situation. So yeah, comes back, gets a submission. Good for him.
Yeah, it's not about being a sportsman. It's about, earning 50% of your purse, basically. And that's the position these fighters are in. We've seen it with Anthony Smith. And he took a low blow or a legal knee, and he could have, sat out and did that and won the title basically by default. But he didn't, and he got a few pats on the back, but he didn't get anything else. He didn't get his win bonus. He didn't get the title. You take what you get. And Ed Herman, he was hurt. He took all the time he needed off a referee error, and he come back and he was able to win. So obviously he's done the right thing. I heard Dana White give Mike Rodriguez his win bonus anyway, and they're going to appeal that loss. So be interesting to see what comes out of that, because he won, but did he win? Was Herman fully done? We seen Herman drop a few times, and I kept thinking the fight was done. And then Rodriguez was a bit hesitant to throw his shots, or he weren't able to get that knockout blow. So was Herman done? And that's just it, you'll never know now, because the referee stepped in and stopped it. So it'd be interesting to see what the appeals process brings, and whether this is overturned to a no contest or what happens.
I think it definitely needs to be overturned, but that's just my opinion. That don't matter. But if I am on Rodriguez's team, I am appealing that all day, every day. I'm getting that overturned. I heard Dana White at the press conference saying that this is why they need live replay during the fights. And he said they will, from now on, they're going to have the replay so the ref can see it on hand and assess what happened, which I think is a good move. I don't understand why it's not there in the first place. Do you know?
No, I don't get it either. It's there, but you can't use it until the fight's over, and then once the fight's over, you can't really make any changes if you've made a mistake. You just realise you've made a mistake. So that was the perfect opportunity. There was 5 minutes of pause time where the referee could have went over, looked at the screen, and he would have realised his mistake. And that's all it was. It was just a mistake. He missed it. It's easy enough. They really tighten the clinch, and there isn't much distance between the belly and the below. So it's just it's one of them where it should be there. They've got the facilities to use it. Why not? It just doesn't make sense. And hopefully Dana White's able to get that going now, because it's needed. And something like this will pop up again, probably pretty soon, probably this year, and we'll be thankful when it is there.
I absolutely agree. Before that one, we had the lightweights, Bobby Green and Alan Patrick. I had never seen Alan Patrick fight before this, but he's definitely got a pretty one-dimensional style, don't he? He was looking for the takedown. He was looking to try and find a submission, and he just couldn't get it. Bobby Green looked incredible. Probably one of the better performances I've seen from him. Didn't get to see his striking, which he's known for so much, but his wrestling ability to switch, reverse the positions and get on top over and over and over again, and then while he's on top, do damage. He looked phenomenal. Obviously, he won the fight. It wasn't even close. Yeah, that's pretty much that fight. What do you think?
Yeah, Bobby Green's in serious form, and based off his post-fight interview, you wouldn't think it, because he's taken these, he's taken that on short notice again, and he's come out with another win. So that's 3 in a row now. Clay Guida and Lando Venata before that, so they're good wins. He's built a bit of momentum. He showed his striking, his striking chops against Venata. Showed his wrestling in this one. He showed it all, and then on top, he just seems to be having these weird post-fight interviews. Where there's all kind of personality there as well. It's just he couldn't even finish it yesterday because of he got some bad news about the guy from Iran. So it's just Bobby Green's an interesting character. He's one to keep an eye on, and he's one of them guys who's taking advantage of everything that's going on right now. 3 in 2008 and 3 in 2020. He'll probably fight another once or twice before the year's done, and by the end of the year he could be on a 5-fight winning streak. So Bobby Green, look forward to seeing him again. I like that fight against the Zaitar. I think that's a good match. I think that's them two are just outside the top 15, closing in on them rankings now. So that's a good fight, and I'm sure both guys will be up for it.
Well, Dana White said as Zaitar's turning around on Fight Island, he'll be fighting while they're on Fight Island. So maybe Bobby Green does the same. He didn't take too much damage in this fight. He went for 15 minutes, but didn't really get tagged or anything. I don't even think he got hit. No, maybe he had to have got hit, but I don't think he really took any damage. But yeah, we'll jump down to the fight that opened the main card between Billy Quarantilo and Kyle Nelson. Fantastic addition to the highlight reel of Quarantilo. And I loved right before the third round, his corner said to him, "You need to get a finish." He said, "If you want to move up in the rankings, you need to get a finish." He went out there, 8 seconds into the third round, 1-2, puts him out. awesome performance. I thought Billy Quarantilo looked fantastic the whole fight. Kyle Nelson didn't look bad until that third round where he got knocked out, but it wasn't really that competitive in my eyes. What did you think?
Yeah, it was great. It was a bit of extra spice to this fight just because we LowKick managed to speak to both of these guys before the fight, and Kyle Nelson was being very boisterous in his prediction. He was saying, "I'm going to knock him out in the first round," and you can see off his tactics that's what he came to do. He was swinging heavy. He was a dangerous guy, but Billy Contiro's just got everything you want in a fighter. He's got all the heart, he's got the skill, he's got the cardio, and that's what it come down to in the end. I think Quarantilo just took him to deep waters and drowned him in the end. I think by the end of round two, Kyle Nelson was pretty much done. And it's all right, having someone right there, but it's all going out and finishing them is very important too. And that's what Quarantilo said when I spoke to him. He said he wants to finish. He was very confident in getting the finish, and then he got it in beautiful fashion. It's brilliant, and he just made a statement with that win, and that's 3 in a row in the UFC now. He's on to bigger and better things. He's a dangerous guy, and I look forward to seeing him fight again because he's an exciting prospect at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw a lot of people calling him to get a ranked opponent next, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. What's it? Yeah, he's on 3-fight win streak in the UFC or something. He's put a couple of names together, so maybe you do put him jumping up to that next step. There's definitely guys there that would make sense to pair him with. Maybe he gets the loser or the winner of Andre Fili and Bryce Mitchell. Maybe that's something for him. Yeah, I don't know. It's that division's like around the 15 to 20 mark. There's so much there, There's a lot of names for him. Do you have any idea who they give him next, in your opinion?
I think it's hard for him to get into that top 15 right now, just because, basically, number 15 is Edson Barboza, number 14 is Joe Eduardo. They're not going to match him with them, are they? And then Ryan Hall, Shane Burgos. No, I don't think he's getting them. And then Danny Ige. Arnold is number 9 right now, and he hasn't seemed to fight in ages. I'm sure he'll be wanting to get on the Fight Island card if he's not already booked for something. So, Sadiq Yusuf's there as well. Yeah, there's a couple of good fights, but I think again it'll be fringe, just outside. The guys just outside. I'm not sure who's there, but there'll be a few guys on the edge of that. And I think that's where he is. He probably needs 1 or 2 more wins before he starts, cracking that top 15. Only because, not because he's not impressive, just because that top 15 is so stacked. It's full of talent, and it's not that easy to get there. And I don't think a win over Kyle Nelson's going to do it, or Spike Carlisle, or the other guy he beats. I think he needs a real signature win, and I think he'll get it. He's an exciting guy to watch, and I can't wait to see his little rise now.
Yeah, it should be good. I think we'll just pick through some of these prelims because some of them weren't the best. The first one I want to speak about is Roosevelt Roberts versus Kevin Croom. Kevin Croom, the UFC fighter with probably the worst fight photo on this entire UFC website. If you look at the events page, don't know what he was doing during that photo, but power to him. It's a very entertaining one. And you know what? He went out there and entertained on the night. 31-second submission, not knockout. He tagged him, didn't he? And then he submitted him with a guillotine. That's what happened. Yeah, impressive stuff. Coming in on his debut. I think he had a day's notice or something ridiculously short. And yeah, he pulled it off. It was very impressive.
Basically, it was just such an upset. It was a huge upset. I just think Roosevelt Roberts thought he had that one. And I thought he was starting to look good. I know he lost against Jim Miller, but I kind of expected him to, just have an easy night's work here. But Kevin Croom weren't ready for that at all, and you could see after the fight he was so elated. I think he's been, battling for years to get here, and then when he gets there, he took advantage of it. Probably he did get a bonus, didn't he? Yeah, got a bonus. He's made the most of his moments, and Roosevelt Roberts has got to be, feeling sick with that one because, he gets tagged early and then he gets done with, a standing guillotine. It's not great. It's not great for him. I don't know where he goes from here, but Kevin Croom, he's cemented in UFC. Good luck to the guy. I think we've got him booked in for a little interview in the next few days, so be excited to speak to him because he was so excited to get that win, and he's so pumped. And you can't help but just root for these guys. When he's saying he's been at it for 13 years or whatever he's been doing. It's hard work, and he's finally here. He's not only here; he's made a huge statement, made a load of money. And, he'll go on to the next one now and he'll get a big fight. But Roosevelt Roberts, much work to do. I know he's young, but, that fight seemed like no disrespect for the Croom, but it seemed like a gimme. It was a late notice call up, and Roosevelt Roberts is meant to be one of the playing work today for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the really takeaway from this fight. Like Kevin Croom coming in and doing that, and he comes from a really good team. I think he's coached James Krause, and he had someone else in his corner that I'm blanking on. But yeah, they seem to be really happy when he got the win as well. So power to him. Look forward to hearing what he has to say to us when we speak to him later in the week or whenever that is. But yeah, any other prelims you want to touch on?
I just want to give Jaylen Tanner a shout out because this is late notice for him. He comes in and he looks brilliant. I know Brock Weaver, isn't one of the top guys, but Jaylen Tanner, every time I see him, he impresses me. And you heard Bisper on the comments kind of raving about him, saying he trained with him and how good he was, and how he'd give him a few beatings as well. So he's an exciting guy in that division just because he's so rangy, lanky, he's got striking. I am excited about him. He's someone worth shouting out. So yeah, shout out Jaylen Tanner.
Yeah, I missed the finish in that one, but I saw the first round and a bit, and he looked to be dominating. There didn't look to be a lot there from Weaver in that one. So props to him. But if that's the card, we'll jump on some news because there is some out of this. And let me just pull up the screen. Which one do I want to pick first? We'll go Tony Ferguson. Dustin Poirier's out. Obviously, that was news early in the week. Dustin Poirier wanted more money. The UFC and him couldn't come to agreement, so he decided he's not fighting Tony Ferguson on the UFC 254, which is a big shame because that would have been perfect as the co-main event slot. However, Dana White says that they're done negotiating with Poirier and Ferguson will have a new opponent. And I'm telling you, I know who it is. Here's my money prediction for you. Dan Hooker. He posted on Instagram 2 days ago and said something like anytime, anywhere or something. He said something that really implied he had a fight that was just booked then. I know about 2 days ago is when Poirier wanted more money and that fell apart. So the timeline kind of matches. What do you think? Is that his opponent and do you like that fight?
I didn't see that, so that's kind of a surprise to me because I kind of had in my mind that he might be fighting Charles Oliveira. Oliveira's just fell out of his fight with Benal Dariush, and now it kind of seems quite coincidental
I
that
didn't know
he's
that.
fell out of that fight with no explanation. Yeah, he fell out a few days ago now,
Right.
and so yeah, it's an interesting. But Dan Hooker's there as well, so I think Dan Hooker would be the bigger fight. I think it would be obviously they're trying to make 254 the biggest card, of the year. I think Dan Hooker would be the fight to make. But Charles Oliveira's there as well, and I think there's a chance he might sneak in. So it's interesting times, but either way, I'm down for either of them fights. Tony Ferguson, I hope he can come back and look like himself because he didn't in the last fight, and either of these guys is a good fight for him. So can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, you look at it, and I think that the Oliveira fight is literally like him fighting himself. Him and Charles Oliveira have such a similar style. I think Ferguson is better. All around, I think Ferguson is better everywhere. But they're very similar as their style. Whereas Dan Hooker, I used to write him off, to be honest. If I'm being honest with you, I used to write him off. I didn't think he was much. But you look at how he fought Poirier and what he was able to do in that fight. And before that, against Hooker even, he's really talented and he hits hard. He's got knockout power. I don't know if he has the power to knock out Ferguson, but that could be an interesting fight as well. That could be definitely a challenge for Ferguson in that one. Either fight, I'm happy to see. I just really want to see Tony Ferguson back.
Yeah, and I'm just glad he is back because obviously Dustin's got his own thing with the UFC, and if he wants more money, fair play to him, but. Ben Askren kind of come out and had a go at him, and I understand kind of his reasoning why. Just because this does seem like a fight where the rewards for beating Tony Ferguson are so huge. You'll get the money down the line. Is Ben Askren's school of thought? The money will come, but Dustin's at that point now where he thinks the money should be here now, and I tend to agree with him. So I've got no bad feelings about him sitting out and him wanting that money, especially for a quick turnaround. That fight's in just over a month now. So yeah, Dustin will be back sooner rather than later, I'm sure. But in the meantime, we get a really fun fight and just let's be glad Tony Ferguson's still on the card.
Hopefully. Let's hope it doesn't fall out.
Hopefully.
Yeah, okay. So another piece of news that's come out that I'm not too familiar with, but I assume you wrote it, so maybe you'll be familiar with it. Conor McGregor arrested on holiday in France. What happened there?
There's not really any clear information about what happened. Basically, he was arrested on suspicion of sexual assault or indecent exposure. But besides someone saying it was in a bar, there's not really much information. So it's hard to, you know, you don't want to condemn anyone as guilty, as soon as the reports come out. But something's happened. But he doesn't seem too phased about it. I think right now, or I don't know if it's over now, but he's in some type of boat race at the minute. So he's not. I don't think he's particularly concerned. Obviously he's a celebrity. He's high profile target, but at the same time, they do seem to pop up a lot with him. So I just reserve judgment and kind of let the legal system kind of play its way out. It's hard to, you don't want to be throwing too many stones at someone, but Conor McGregor is, an easy target, and he makes a lot of these problems for himself. So I'm sure some people are having, fun at expense right now.
Yeah, the reason I bring this up, obviously, I don't know anything legal. I'm not a lawyer, but it's because I saw recently he got tested by USADA, which means he's not retired. Shocker, because if anyone thought he was retired, they're probably wrong, right? I think we all know he's come back. I had said on Twitter, as soon as I saw Poirier was out of that Ferguson fight, this is the time to make the Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor fight. They were meant to fight back when Ferguson captured the interim championship. Conor was off boxing and doing whatever. This is the time to make that fight. Obviously, it wouldn't be a co-main event. It would be a main event. I want it. That is the fight. What are your thoughts on that?
I just don't think the UFC can make it. I want it. I just don't think the UFC have the money to pay Conor McGregor right now. And that's why Dana White keeps saying he's retired. He's retired. He's getting tested by USADA. He's very much in the rankings. He's clearly not retired. He keeps calling everyone out. But Dana White's just clinging to that retirement statement because he can't pay Conor McGregor the money he needs right now. That's the top and bottom of it. They need a crowd before McGregor can get a fight. And I think it's going to be 2021 before they anticipate having crowds back in there. So it's going to be 2021 before we get McGregor back in there. And I think it's as cut and dry in that. So as nice as in a fairy tale land where McGregor's still being tested, he can jump straight back in. This whole business side of things is stopping it, and then it stops me getting carried away with fantasizing about this fight because it's not happening. It'd be impossible, I think, to raise the funds to pay McGregor the whatever amount of tens of millions he needs for this fight.
Yeah, I would love to see it though. Like I said on Twitter, I said it's probably not going to happen. And I mean, it should have happened back in 2017, I want to say. Is that when? I think it was 2017 when Ferguson got the interim title. Whenever it was meant to happen, that's when it should have happened, right? But yeah, we can only just pray that maybe one day we get to see it. Anything else in news that you want to touch on?
I think Dana White confirmed, or you said it was in the works, Rose Namajunas against Weili Zhang, which was expected, but it's a huge fight. It'd be interesting to see where they go with that. I heard someone on Twitter saying potentially go to China with that because they've got a UFC PI over there, which would be, an interesting move. And, yeah, but it's a huge fight, and it's the fight in the women's strawweight division, as we were saying earlier. Them two girls at the top of the card, they made a big statement about how good that strawweight division is because, in my opinion, both Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas are a level or two above them girls, and them girls are, super, super talented. So it's going to be a huge and a really fun fight, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think they'll do the Chinese PI because the problem there is how do you get everyone back into America? It's not going there. It's getting back. That would be a nice idea, though. I think it's going to be on Fight Island, and it'll be an awesome fight. I think that I've got to side with Zhang. Early prediction here, but I've got to side with Zhang on this. I just can't see Rose causing any problems that JJ didn't cause to her. I just can't see her getting out wrestled by Rose. And I can't see her losing on the feet. What do you think about the matchup itself?
Yeah, I think it's a good fight. I think Rose is a dangerous contender, for Zhang. I think Zhang lost the last fight, to Joanna. So in my mind, I'm not convinced. She wiped out Andrade, and then she had a tough defense against Joan Jacek, which I think she lost. So it's hard for me to, be too much on her hype train as a champion yet. But if she gets by Rose Namajunas, there she is. She's cracked it. I think I do think her horn's getting her tooted a little bit too much. I think she's getting matched with Valentina and things like that. I think she needs to beat a Rose. Definitely, she's got to beat at least Rose before she can start talking about these other fights. And it looks like we're going to get it. So I'm sure she'll get a chance.
Yeah, can't wait. Last piece of news, then we'll wrap it up. I don't know if you saw, but during the Bellator event today, John Fitch announced his retirement after he got submitted by Nyman Gracie. The submission itself was pretty vicious. It was like a knee bars, heel hook, inverted little thing. Impressive stuff. Obviously, he had that draw with Rory McDonald. That's who it was. Yeah, during the Grand Prix, which he would have technically won the belt had it been his way. And I know a lot of people saw it his way. But yeah, he didn't get a hold of the belt there. It's a shame. Before that, he was on a bit of a streak. Since joining Bellator, he hadn't lost, yeah. And before that, he was in PFL, and he had a couple of good wins there. Beat Jake Shields. Pretty good career, to be honest. Overall, I'm looking at his record here. To retire now after that loss to Nyman Gracie, probably not the worst idea. What do you think?
No, I think he's in his 40s now, isn't he? 42, and he's had a massive career. He's one of the original guys. I think, the whole lay and pray thing was one of his things. It was called John Fitching,
Yeah.
That's his thing. So that's what he's give to the game, and he's still right there, to be competitive with Rory McDonald, for 3 to 5 rounds or whatever it was. That's huge. And then it's just he's still there. He could still beat a lot of top guys, but he's been subbed. He's lost an up and comer, and he's decided to walk away. I'm sure he's been thinking about it for a while. And good luck to the guy. I hope he goes on. I'm sure he's already coaching or doing something along them lines. But he's got a lot to give back, and I'm sure he'll start giving even more now.
Yeah. So best in retirement to you, John Fitch, if you're for some reason listening to this. Fun fact: he debuted at UFC Fight Night 2. So that's
what I mean.
That's a long time ago, isn't it?
And it's weird, yes, because you've seen Bisping on the commentary speaking about Ed Herman, who was in the same season as Tough as him, and Ed Herman's, So it's just weird, you're getting this little crossover point now where you're getting the veterans who are still hanging around, and someone like Fitch who's still able to, beat a lot of top guys. Yushin Okami, Jake Shield, Paul Daly, they're all just in the last few years. So it's huge, and I'm sure he could still beat a lot of people in that Bellator division at the age of 42 or whatever he is now. Yeah, 42 he is now. But sometimes, he's maybe not gone out on top. He's not got the belt or things like that, but he's pretty close. He's pretty close.
He doesn't have bad losses. I'm looking at his losses. He lost to GSP, draw with BJ Penn, lost to Johnny Hendricks, lost to Damian Maia. And then obviously draw with Rory McDonald and lost to Nyman Gracie. But yeah, not a terrible career. But with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll speak to you later in the week to preview the big one, probably my favorite event of this month, Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. So yeah, we'll speak to you then. Thanks for watching.